Hi Flosstube, my name is Charlotte, also known as Chloe Cross Stitching, and this is my first Flosstube video. I've tried to record it a couple of times, so hopefully third time lucky. In this video I'm going to do my Know Your Needleworker tag. I'm also going to show you my finishes and my current WIPS. So let's get started. A little bit about myself. Obviously my name is Charlotte. I've been cross stitching for about 2 years, I think, almost to the day. I accidentally found cross stitching. I'm a huge Disney fan and I wanted a Lion King canvas on my wall. And I found a really nice canvas on eBay, what I thought was a canvas, of Thomas Kincaid. Purchased it, and what arrived through the post was not a canvas but a small cross stitch kit. I really should read the details better. So I thought, well, cross stitching, I'll give it a go, see what it is. That wasn't my first project that I did. I decided I didn't want to do that one straight away because I thought it was a bit complicated for somebody that's never done it before. So I'll show you what I did first. But first we'll do the Know Your Needleworker tag. I'm very sorry, I don't know who made this, so if anybody knows, can you just put it down in the comments so I can thank the person that made this. So, number 1, where do you live? I live in the south of England, currently in Gosport. Live mostly in Fareham, which is a few miles up the road, but when I moved in with my boyfriend, moved in Gosport. Number 2, what do you do for a living? I am an accountant. Fun, I know. I've recently, I'm AAT qualified and I've recently got my AAT letters, so I've got MAAT after my name. Number 3, do you have any children? No, I don't, and I don't plan to. Number 4, do you have any pets? I do, I have a dog. Unfortunately when I moved out I couldn't take her with me, so she stayed with my mum. She's a little Labradoodle, Lexi. She's mine. We go around, I see her and walk her a couple of times during the week, and me and my boyfriend walk her, go around there and walk her at the weekend, so we still see her quite a bit. My parents have now got a second dog, a little cockapoo, called Izzy, so when me and my boyfriend do finally get our own place, I don't think we'll be able to take Lexi because they've now bonded and we can't split them up. Number 5, what are your other hobbies other than stitching? We collect Funko Pops. They're basically just plastic figures. If you are not aware of them, they do TV shows, movies, books, loads of different characters in there. I think we've got over 130 now in our collection. One of our most recent purchases is Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. We are in-box collectors, so he will not be removed from this box, but there are a few. There are collectors that take them out of box. We are not one of those, so he will always remain in box. Number 6, what is your favourite movie? That's a little bit difficult. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of ums. I really like the Lord of the Rings movies. Absolutely love them. I'm a huge Disney fan, so I love most of the Disney movies. Lion King is my favourite Disney movie, but I don't know if it is my favourite movie. I think I'd have to say it's Pacific Rim, the first one, with Idris Elba. I love him, and I love the fact that it's giant robots fighting giant monsters, or aliens. I'm not normally an alien person. I think it's too far-fetched, but I'm quite happy to believe there's hobbits running around Middle-earth. So yeah, it surprised me that I like Pacific Rim so much. I think it's the fact, spoilers if you've not seen it, it's the fact that the aliens don't come down from space, they come up from a rift that's appeared at the bottom of the ocean, so they're coming up from the ocean, even though they're aliens. So that's, I think Pacific Rim or The Lion King would have to be my favourite movie. What is your favourite TV show? Again, I don't really have a favourite TV show. I love Lost Girl, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Currently we're watching that. Vikings, How to Get Away with Murder. I'm currently watching Pretty Little Liars. So there's a lot of programmes that we love to watch. What is your favourite book? I think I'd have to say I love fantasy. I think my favourite would have to be The Inheritance Cycle, which is Eragon by Michael Paoli. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Number 9, favourite music. I'm more into pop and Disney, obviously. Most of my music on the phone is Disney or pop boy bands like Westlife and Blue. I grew up on them, so they'll always be on there. Number 10, what one word describes you? I like to go off in a tangent. I'll have a structured thing, so I go off on tangents quite often, so it's not daydreamer or that. It is relevant but not relevant at the same time, so I'm just weird. I'm just me, weird. Sorry, I've written notes so I don't forget anything. Right, we'll move on to my completed WIPS. Some are completed, finished, but not framed, so they're not finally finished FFOs. As I said earlier, my first cross-stitch kit that I brought was The Lion King by Thomas Kincaid. I haven't started that one because I thought it was a bit too complicated for me to start with. So I then brought a small kit. I brought a Mini Cooper kit from eBay. It was just a small one to see if I'd like cross-stitching, and I have that here. It's absolutely tiny. Not all my stitches go in the same way. I found that out after doing a few of these small kits. And the back is a complete mess. I've still got threads coming here and that. There is a few things I wish I knew before doing this, like don't travel. Just with your threads, anchor them and restart, and make sure all the stitches are in the same direction. So that was my first little kit. I believe it's done on 14 count Ada. My next finish I love the Watership Down Rabbits TV series. I grew up on those, so when searching for new projects to work on, I found that DMC did Watership Down kits, so I brought a few of them. My first one that I did is £5. Again, not all the stitches are in the same direction, and the back is a mess, as you can see, and that's I'm not entirely sure how it's managed. There's a knot at the front and it's frayed, unfortunately, so I think I did have quite a few threads left over, so I may redo that one, this one, but that was my first larger complete. I think it took me about a month to do him. My next one was a slightly bigger project. My friend got married, so I did a gift for them. It was a Bothy Threads Love Blossoms kit for the wedding, and I managed to I think I completed that in about 6 weeks, because I was just working constantly on it, and it was metallic thread, so I was getting a little bit angry with it first time using them. I think I managed to finish it about 1 o'clock the morning of the wedding, and then I had to frame it, so I was up until 2 or 3 o'clock framing, after watching many YouTube videos on how to frame. But I managed to get it done. And gave it to them. They loved it, which is the main thing. If I can, I will insert a picture here of the finished piece. Next one was a smaller one. It was, as I said earlier, we collect Funko Pops, so I wanted to incorporate Funko Pops and cross stitching to see if I could. It's not the best. As I said earlier, I loved The Lion King, so I did a Funko Scar, designed this and created it myself. It's not the best. I think by this time I had learnt that all the stitches had to go the same way, and the back is neater. Not completely neat, but it is neater than my mini and £5 is. My next one was another Watership Down rabbit. This time it's Hawkbit. And there's the back if anyone is interested. So I've travelled a little bit, but not as bad as the others, and all of these are in the same direction. I'm not entirely sure how, but I accidentally added an extra line down here, so he's got a bigger leg than he should have, but I don't think you can notice too much. I don't know what I'm going to do with these when I've completed them, because I think there's 4 in the set, so £5, Hawkbit, Pipkin and Bigwig. I do have all of those. 2 are completed, and I'll go on to the others in a minute. My next, all those apart from Scar were a kit. Scar, I designed and kitted it up myself. My next project, me and my boyfriend are huge Game of Thrones fans, and we like the Lannisters. So I found a Lannister lion sigil on Etsy, and I stitched that. And if I can, I'll insert a picture here of it completed. The chart called for white Ada with red thread and yellow thread. Instead of doing the red thread, I just brought red Ada. I got a 14 count Ada in Christmas red from So and So, and used that. It saved a lot of time to stitching all the red, so that would have been, I think, a bit too boring. It was a lot of backstitch in this one, and it got to me. I put it down for a while, but picked it back up because obviously it was a gift for the boyfriend. He's asked me to stitch it, so I really should have stayed with it and stuck on it. My next 2 projects were wedding gifts. They were the same chart. I charted them myself. The couple are Doctor Who mad, so I found I charted a police box and did some writing around it. I did it twice. I did together forever, through time and space, their names and then the date they got married next to the police box. I did one as a demo, but I liked it quite a lot, and it turned out very well. So I made that into a cushion and gave them the cushion. And then I did my, which I'll insert here if I can, the next finish linked into that, because my original plan was to get that piece framed. I designed it on, and I stitched it on hand-dyed fabric. It was Maelstrom by Chromatic Alchemy. I managed to do that in about a month, I think, and framed it, gave it to them. They absolutely loved it, so I'll insert a picture here if I can. If not, they'll all be at the end, and I do apologise for that. My next finish was a big one. It was 12 pages long, and it was Frozen by Do Not Stitch on Etsy. And this was a gift for my sister. It was supposed to be a birthday gift. It overran by a few months, so I then had to transform it, and it was then a Christmas present rather than a birthday gift. I started that in February 2017, and I finished it, I think it was the 18th of December 2017, so it was 10 months on this project. These 12 pages. I started it in February, as I said, 2017, but took a break with that to stitch the 2 wedding gifts, the Together Forever gifts. So it wasn't a full 10 months on Frozen. There was a little bit of a gap in between. That took a lot of time and effort, and I got bored because there's a lot of blues in it, but I pushed through it and finished it just before Christmas. Framed it myself. It was my first time framing, stitching the back together rather than pins on foam board, so I was using melt board, and so that was an experience. Turned out quite well. My sister loved it, absolutely loved it. She's obviously Frozen mad. She's now found that Do Not Stitch do a Rapunzel version. They also do an Ariel and Little Mermaid Brave. I think they do an Aladdin one. So I think she's after me doing the Rapunzel one for her. We'll just have to wait and see what comes of that. One more finish. This was a present for my grandfather for his birthday in January 2018, and it was Wallace and Gromit. This was in a Cross Stitch Crazy magazine last year, I think it was June or July 2017 that I saw the chart, and I fell in love with it. And I knew exactly, the second I saw it, I knew that I was going to stitch that for my granddad. So I started that on the 27th of December, and I finished it, I think it was the 31st January, probably about a week after his birthday. It would have been done on time, but January is the busiest time for me, getting all the tax return deadlines done by the 31st of January, so unfortunately it did take a back seat to work. That one was stitched on 14 count Ada. It was, I think it was printed fabric, it was fabric flare in a cloud green. Kitted that up myself. I'll insert a picture here because I also framed it myself. And I think that's all my completed projects done. So it's just my WIPS now. Currently at 22 minutes, I do apologise. I'm supposed to only be a one WIP girl, but I have 3. Shh, don't tell the boyfriend. He knows of 2. He doesn't know of the 3rd. So we're going to keep that quiet. Right, my first WIP is another Watership Down rabbit. It is Pipkin. I've not done much of him. As you can see, that's literally all I've done. I'm not actually entirely sure which way up he is. It's been quite a while since I worked on him. I think he got put on the back burner because I worked on Frozen. So that one needs to get worked on again. My next WIP is the biggest one to date, and it is a Heaven and Earth design, a Haid. And it is Mini Evil Queen by Anya K. Probably can't see that very well. Let's see if you can see it if I take it out. I'm sorry about the rattling. Okay. So that's currently what I've done. I started that on the 2nd of January 2017, so over a year ago, and this is currently my progress on it. It's a page and a bit. On the official Facebook Heaven and Earth design group, Michelle runs challenges. The first challenge that I partook in, I think, was challenge 4, and that was just to complete a page. So that was my first challenge completed, was complete a page. The next challenge was to stitch 10 by 10 by 10 squares and feather the edges. The reason people feather the edges are to avoid page breaks which I'm most likely going to have here because it's just straight. So people feathered the other edges, and I think that's something that I will continue to do. Yeah, is to feather the edges so I don't get the page breaks. So that one I need to get back on working. And then my last WIP is something again for my sister, and of course it has to be Disney. She is Moana mad, and so I'm currently working on Moana by Vervico. I started this, when was it? It must have been beginning of February 2018 is when I started this. It's now the end of March. This has probably got about a month's work on it. Throughout the whole of March, I've been crafting for a friend's stall. She does a charity stall to raise money for Meningitis Now, which is a charity and something she's very passionate about. So I was crafting for that. Not just cross stitch. I did make a few small cross stitch like coasters and key rings for that. I can add in a few pictures here, but I also made some fairy and fantasy jars, so spray painted them and they light up. So I made them for the stall. They were really, really popular, which I'm really glad about. I told you I go off on tangents. Anyway, so this is how far I am on Moana. So that's months progress. She looks a little bit scary because she's only got one eye at the moment. So this is the one that I will be working on. Once I've finished this, it will be back onto the mini Evil Queen Heaven and Earth. So we'll get back onto that as soon as Moana is finished. I think that is it for my first ever Flosstube video. I hope you like it. I am going to plan and try and do them once a month at the end of the month and show you the progress of what I've been working on that month, pending work commitments and such. So if there's any tips or suggestions for future Flosstube videos that you could, help me out with, would be very much appreciated. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you watch again. Thank you. Bye.